Key. There has to be one in here, I muttered as I opened cupboards and riffled through drawers in the teacher's lounge. I glanced over my shoulder, thinking someone was coming, but it was just voices in the hall passing by. I'd had detention after school, so there weren't many people left, but I was sure a random teacher or two were still on campus ready to discover me. I needed to be quick. Half a tray of Subway wraps sat on the table behind me, making the entire room smell like onions and pickles. I opened the last drawer only to find napkins and plastic utensils. I slammed it shut, and the locked pouch in my hand containing my cell phone banged against the cupboard below. I didn't think teachers should be able to lock up phones, but our school had implemented this policy 2 years ago, and it was going so well. The policy was students were to keep their phones in their backpacks during class. If you were caught looking at it, your phone had to be locked up. No matter how briefly you were looking at it, no matter why you were looking at it. I had been caught. It was now the end of the day, not just any day, Friday, and my phone was still locked up, useless in the small bag. Mr. Lopez, who had been running detention today, told me that the teacher who locked it up had to be the one to unlock it. I knew that wasn't true. Mr. Lopez was just being a power-hungry jerk. But I hadn't had time to fight about it if I wanted to catch Mrs. Thiessen before she went home for the weekend. I'd left the room quickly in search of her. She was the one who had caught me looking at my phone, the one who had stopped mid-lecture, put her hands on her hips and said, "Indy, something interesting on the screen?" My eyes had shot to hers. To my disappointment, the answer to her question was, no, there was nothing interesting on my phone. Definitely not the text I'd been waiting for. "Putting it away." She went to her desk and pulled out a lock bag. "You know the rules, and it's not your first offense this week." She tossed the bag onto my desk. "Seriously?" I wanted to throw the lock bag across the room. I refrained. I got zero recognition for my excellent willpower. In fact, I got the opposite when she said, "And now you have detention too." "Cool," I said. Ava and Caroline laughed behind me, and Mrs. Thiessen shot me another look. Surprisingly, she didn't tack on some other punishment. She waited in front of my desk for me to turn off my phone, slide it into the small bag, and lock it closed. I maintained eye contact with her while completing the task. She gave me a satisfied nod and continued her lecture like she'd never stopped. But apparently, she'd forgotten about me and my phone because when I checked her room after detention, she had already left, with the key. And so here I was, in the teacher's lounge, searching for a different key. I was pretty sure they were universal, some sort of magnet mechanism. If I couldn't free my phone, I was screwed. I'd been taking notes on it, notes I needed. Maybe. I squeezed my eyes shut, wishing I could check my texts. Taking my phone for an entire weekend was cruel and unusual punishment. I turned a circle in the room. If I were an overly controlling teacher, where would I put a key? My eyes landed on the door to the bathroom. Maybe? What could it hurt? I'd already exhausted my search of the lounge. I might as well be thorough. I walked inside, the heavy door swinging shut behind me. First, I went to the sink and opened the cupboards below it. There was a 4-pack of toilet paper, a toilet plunger, air freshener, and a basket of feminine hygiene products. I dug around inside that basket, but there was no hidden key. There were 2 stalls in the room. The back one was a larger handicapped stall, and I went inside. But it was just a standard bathroom. Toilet, paper, handrails, and seat protectors. There was a high window above the toilet, but no keys sat on its ledge. The smaller stall was the same story. The walls were mostly tile, and there were no hooks holding keys. I didn't know why I thought it would be in the bathroom anyway.